Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Ryan and I'm with Skyline Acres. And today when I got home from work, I went to go feed the chickens and I noticed we had a little problem. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Coming into one of our chicken coops here. This is my feed mechanism I've been using for several years. And as you can tell, actually I was filling it up and I was just tapping this lid on. This one actually fits pretty loose. I was just barely tapping it on and this whole thing busted out. So anyways, it's a little minor problem, but I was actually just gonna go ahead and fix it real quick and move on with life. And I got to thinking, you know what? Somebody else might think that kind of feeder would do good for them. And so I figured I'd show you how I do it. I'll see if I can get it to show up, but it's basically a bucket riveted onto this pan. I don't know if you can see the rivets. Okay, I don't know if that was one or that's a piece of dirt there, but you get the idea. Rivet there. And the bucket has holes drilled all around the base of it, and I believe they're 1.25 inch holes, but I'll let you know when I go to making the new one. It really works. It's a clean way. The chickens don't kick the food out or nothing, so I've always liked it, so I'm gonna build another one. If you guys are looking for kind of the same setup, the bucket's outside dimension to outside looks to be 11 inches. And remember how I said you want this kind of narrow here? This pan, inside to inside is 15.25 if you go to Tractor Supply. Outside to outside is like 16.5. Interestingly enough, outside to inside is dead on 16. They probably call it a 16-inch pan, and your height is right around 4 inches tall. The height is kind of important because it keeps the feed from being kicked out. If you're doing this for the first time and you've got a bucket and a pan, you're gonna want to set your bucket on the pan here and either eyeball it, which is fine, or kind of, get it centered a little bit. Well, I've already done all that because I've already made this, right? So I went ahead and took a Sharpie and went around my bucket here because I know that's basically centered. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drill these rivets out, and then my new bucket will go on this Sharpie line. So let me get to it. All right guys, so the bucket's off. Pretty easy to drill out. A lot of this feed gets in just this little void here. So I'll throw that away, kind of clean this up a little bit. We'll start putting our new bucket on. You can use whatever size hole saw you want, but my last one I used 1.25 inches. So I'm just gonna stick with that because I know it works. And you're gonna wanna drill as close to the bottom as you can. So, the feed, is allowed to go all the way to the bottom. The little bit tricky part is, you got to account for this lip here, so you got to come up, a little bit there. And you can almost see that line here. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but we'll drill some holes there. I counted on my previous one, I drilled 8 holes around. I've seen people drill 4 2-inch holes. And all of that. It really doesn't matter. I probably wouldn't go any smaller than 1.25 inches, which is what I'm using, because you just don't want anything to pack up and not come out or anything. If you drill the 4 big holes, when you fill this thing up with feed, you'll just get feed kind of come out like right here, and so forth. But as the chickens pack down in here and get the feed, it'll kind of go this way, and more feed will come out and it'll all fill in. Whenever you're drilling into plastic, it's always recommended to use the drill in reverse. That way it's just not as aggressive and you end up with a cleaner cut. All right, so that one was perfect. I mean, it's almost dead level with the bottom base there. All right, that's it for the holes. Now what I'm gonna do is clean this up a little bit and I'll come back at you. So I've got the work area all vacuumed, and all I'm gonna do now is just clean these up a little bit with the pocket knife, because you know, you don't want your chicken eating plastic bits and pieces. So just kind of do that, clean it up. I'll finish this up, guys, and we'll come back for the next step. It looks like this bucket's gonna be the exact outside diameter as that other bucket. I figured the inside diameters would be, but I wasn't sure about the outside diameters. So I'm gonna line it up with that Sharpie mark that I made earlier. And then, what I'm gonna do, because I gotta flip this upside down, I'm gonna use some duct tape just to kind of hold it into position. That way I know it doesn't get off that Sharpie mark. And this doesn't need to be anything good tape job or nothing like that. Just literally need to get it on there enough to hold. I'm gonna flip this around here. All right. The tape did the trick. So if you're doing this for the first time, you're gonna need to basically just drill some holes in this metal pan. And guys, the other thing is, you can use, it doesn't have to be a metal pan, it can be one of them rubber ones, it can be whatever. And you can attach it multiple different ways too. But so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 holes here already drilled for the rivets from the previous bucket. So I'm just gonna drill through these holes with the 3/16" drill bit and get this riveted, and we'll be done. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on showing you the rivets and all of that. I think we all pretty much know how to use rivets, but I will say, make sure you use the aluminum, which is pretty much what you're going to find at the hardware store anyways. The reason is it won't rust. And since the rivets are going to be going in this direction here, because you need the bottom of this base to be flat, versus like this, you'd have the rivets sticking out. So since they're going in like this, it means the backing material is going to be plastic. And because of that, you want to use what's called backup plates right here. And I meant to say I'm using 3/16" rivets. So just buy 3/16" aluminum backing plates, which all it really is a washer. The way it works, you'll put the rivet through, and then on the inside of the bucket, you'll put your backing plate in like this. It'll go in, you know, stop somewhere around there, and then this ball will pull through and expand out until it gets to this metal, and then it'll break this shank off here. Stick the rivet through, got the backing plate right here. The sucky thing is, if you didn't need to use a backing plate, you could just rivet that out right now. But since we need to use a backing plate, you're gonna have to basically turn this on its side. Hopefully nothing moves. You're gonna need to put the backing plate onto the rivet in there. Okay. Then you're gonna need to get your rivet gun. Get her on there. And go ahead and install your rivets. First one is in. There's your rivet down there with the backing plate. There it is with the shank snapped off. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish these other 3, and I'll come back at you. So that's it, guys. The bucket's done. Right here you go. Everything's attached. I don't know if you can see in there. The rivets are in there with the backing plates. Got the rivets there. Everything's flat on the bottom here. And you'll just dump feed in here and it'll come out and disperse really good around here. Now, since this bucket was used, and see how this handle's doing, I'm gonna try putting a little PVC or something on this and see if I can come up with something for this handle. All right, so I did just now watch a video on YouTube. I didn't watch them all, I just watched like one. And basically he popped the handle off here and cut a piece of PVC, pulled this off, cut a piece of PVC and put it in right here. So I think I got a piece of 3/4 inch PVC laying around, so we're gonna try that. Take my PVC here. This is a piece of 3/4 inch scrap I had. And put it up here on this flat spot here. Go ahead and mark it. I'm thinking, guys, so this is obviously, you know, way thicker than a regular 5-gallon bucket handle. I'm thinking it's gonna be super comfortable. I'm also thinking if you had 1/2 inch PVC, just a little bit smaller, it might be better. If you don't have one of these ratcheting PVC cutters, you ought to look at getting one. I tell you, they are just the cat's meow. It just makes a super smooth cut, and they're not all that expensive. So in theory, I should be able to slide this on here, okay, right there. And then this is a little tricky to get on and off, to be honest with you. All right, there we go. Got my new handle. Tell you what, guys, that handle's, I don't know, 3/4 inch pipe might be perfect. That is really nice. All right, guys, so the feeder's all done. If I wasn't filming and doing the YouTube thing and all that, I'd say you could probably build one of these from scratch in probably 15 minutes. But yeah, it's super easy. It's cheap. You know, I already had the bucket, like probably most of y'all. The pan ain't that expensive. But anyway, so it's all done. And got me a nice handle in here. I think that bigger handle is going to be really nice when you get some weight in there. So anyways, guys, last step to do is go out here and pour some feed in it. Hopefully you'll be able to kind of see it come out a little bit. All right. All right, so we got that very full. What happens is, I hope you can see this, it comes out like that. So if you do less holes, it's not gonna come out exactly like that. But here's why it doesn't matter, and I hope you can see this. As the chickens get in here and peck, it just keeps coming out, and you know, it just, them pecking it and moving it around and everything just disperses it all out. So anyways, guys, that's it. I'm gonna put the lid on here and actually get to try out my new handle too, see how good it works. But we'll go over here and put it in the chicken coop. All right, guys, well, that's gonna do it for this video. I hope y'all enjoyed it. And if you did, go out there and subscribe to our channel, because we'd love to have you back here on Skyline Acres. With that said, y'all have a good one, and we'll see you next time.